Call to order the February 25th Select Board meeting. Mike, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, call to order. We need to approve some minutes. We have the minutes from the February 11th, 2019 work session. Do we have any changes, any discussion or a motion?
I would move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, February the 11th, 2019, non-public work session meeting minutes.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And February 11th, 2019, regular meeting minutes.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. All right. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. Work session meeting, 5 p.m. Monday, March 18th. Regular meetings will be 6 p.m. Monday, March 25th. April 8th and April 22nd. Work sessions prior to the regular meeting will start at 5 p.m. Town elections will be Tuesday, March 12th, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Plymouth Elementary School gym. The town meeting will be held Wednesday, March 13th, 7 p.m., Plymouth Elementary School gym. All of the above meetings will be held in the town hall unless otherwise posted. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the town hall before 12 p.m. the Friday before the scheduled meeting. Alternate members are always needed to fill positions on the zoning and planning boards. If interested, please submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Select Board's office, 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire, 03264. The chairman has no comments. We have some correspondence. Legislative bulletin. Legislative bulletin. Here is the summary of what's in and out of the governor's proposed 2020-2021 budget. Level funds, the meals and room tax distribution to cities and towns at the 2017 amount of $68.8 million each year by suspending the statutory catch-up formula for another 2 years. Based on the meals and rooms tax revenue projection, this will lower the municipal share to 19% compared to the 40% required by statute. It continues suspension of revenue sharing, which provided $25.2 million per year to municipalities before it was suspended in 2010 and every year thereafter. Again, the town was hopeful we might get the sharing situation back, but again, the towns have lost, the municipalities are.
But that budget isn't necessarily the budget that's going to be adopted.
Right. But I mean, the plans are not in there to help the municipalities, and And generally, when they talk about, sending out extra money, I think the state's very reluctant, and I think, it's just what's happened in the last 7 or 8 years that we're getting less and less in many different areas. And so while it's not a final situation, it is what the governor has proposed for municipalities and the room and meals tax. Proclamation request from Shelby Barden, President, PSU Athletic Training Student Organization. Should we read the letter? Okay, we'll read the letter. And my name is Shelby Barden. I'm president of the Plymouth State Athletic Training Student Organization. I would like to take the time today to talk about athletic trainers as healthcare professionals and why a proclamation should be declared for the month of March dedicated to the National Athletic Training Month. Athletic trainers are healthcare professionals who collaborate with physicians to provide emergency care and prevent, diagnose, and treat injuries and medical conditions. Athletic trainers provide services for people in work setting, athletes, industrial workers, military service members, public servants, and more. ATs work as experts to prevent and treat musculoskeletal injuries and physical activities-related illness. Athletic trainers should not be confused with personal trainers or a trainer who solely focuses on fitness and conditioning for athletes and individuals. Athletic trainers save lives because we are present and prepared to take immediate action for a large variety of injuries and medical conditions. We follow injuries from the moment they happen through rehabilitation and to full recovery. By declaring March the National Athletic Training Month, it will shine a light on the profession of athletic training to raise awareness that athletic trainers provide our best quality care as healthcare professionals. Sincerely, Shelby Barden, President, Plymouth State University Training Student Organization. Whereas athletic trainers have a long history of providing quality health care for athletes and those engaged in physical activities based on specific tasks, knowledge, and skills acquired through their nationally regulated educational process, whereas athletic trainers provide prevention for injuries, emergency care, evaluation. Do we need to read the second?
No.
That's the text of the proclamation, I think, which...
You do need to read the proclamation once you agree to
Okay.
accept it.
Do we have a motion?
I would move that we declare the proclamation as requested by Shelby Barden.
I would second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The resolution reads, recognizing the profession of athletic training to raise awareness that athletic trainers provide our best quality care as health care professionals. Whereas athletic trainers have a long history of providing quality health care for athletes and those engaged in physical activity based on specific tasks, knowledge, and skills acquired through their nationally regulated educational processes. And whereas athletic trainers provide prevention of injuries, emergency care, evaluation, diagnosis, and treatment of injuries, rehabilitation, healthcare administration, education and guidance, compassion care for all. And whereas the National Athletic Training Association represents and supports 45,000 members of the athletic training profession employed in many settings, including professional sports, college and universities, secondary schools, clinics and hospitals, corporate and industrial settings, public safety, performing arts, occupational health, military branches, and whereas leading organizations concerned with athletic training and healthcare have joined together in a common desire to raise public awareness of the importance of athletic training profession and to emphasize the importance of athletic trainers as healthcare professionals, providing quality healthcare within the aforementioned setting. And whereas such an effort will improve healthcare for athletes and those engaged in physical activity and promote athletic trains as health professionals. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Plymouth Select Board, do hereby agree to proclaim the month of March as National Athletic Training Month in Plymouth, New Hampshire, and hereby urge all people of Plymouth, New Hampshire to learn more about the importance of athletic training. In witness thereof, we have here to set our hands, the seal of the town of Plymouth, on this 25th day of February, 2019. All right.
We want to start with Ladrain and see if he can start Ladrain before the hearing, or?
Talking about you.
Well, we can probably, what do we got, 5 minutes? We should be able to do that, huh?
We can do it.
Yep. Why don't you come on up, Lad? You can come right up here, sitting. I think we have the electricity for the chair turned off.
Do that. In hand is just a letter, which is just a reminder of our prior correspondence saying we're suspending the duties of the Public Energy Commission. There's no new information in there. The purpose of why I'm coming to the select board today, as the chair of the PC, is to sort of a friendly reminder that we suspended activities and that we would reassess prior to the town meeting, which is just around the corner. We, like many other civic institutions, have had a hard time finding people to serve in the Plymouth Energy Commission, and absent of, political will, the town, and some sort of cry to go do a project, I think we'll continue to suffer to find that, interest to serve among the townspeople of Plymouth, which you all acutely also feel. It just, it is what it is. But
Well,
we're here earnestly saying, we think it's a worthwhile venture, especially considering it can simply, it can be rekindled, given a purpose, so.
Absolutely, and there's been email correspondence with the members of the Energy Commission talking about increasing, their attendance and participation in, planning board discussions, about the implementation of the master plan, looking for areas where they can have input, so.
Yeah, I mean, the members of the Energy Commission are certainly not going to fade away from public service, but rather
Right.
just maybe repurpose our efforts.
Mm-hmm. Have you talked to Rebecca with the planning board?
Grace has extensively, yeah. She'll be attending, if not.
Because I know we're working right now.
Yep.
Some selectmen's rep, and we're heading into, short fixes, and so I'm sure there'll be something in there. And my representation on the board will make sure that, that we remember you're out there, and that we use the commission in any way we can to help implement it.
And I think that that was the intention of the commission originally, was not
Yep.
as a sort of fact finder, but as a doer.
Yep.
And with some fact finding obviously in there, but that's,
Yeah.
coming out of the master plan and coming out of the town meeting, if there's something to be done.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I have maybe one small one. I would have loved for the, I keep saying this, I would love for more light to be illuminated in town. There's just so much activity with walking, especially, university students around town, maybe not always using their crosswalks, but there's just so much activity at times. It's hard to see, and someone darts out into the road, and I know the aim to bring it back to the candle days, or what was the emphasis there?
That was really, it was more of a cooperation between, it was the Energy Commission and the electric company, and it was, there had been a study done, they had proposed to eliminate lights, and both the fire, the safety concerns for the town, we could not eliminate the lights that were wanting to be eliminated. What happened was that different types of bulbs were put in, and they actually light it better than it used to be.
Okay, so it's just my eyes.
For less, for,
Your eyes and the trees are getting taller, you know what I mean? It's a combination thereof.
yeah, but it's, I mean, and it was supposed to have been more efficient, and it's ended up costing the town more,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But the aim was greater energy efficiency that just hasn't panned out.
Is it, are there less lights, or
No.
the lights that were put in are more illums? How did that work? Do you remember?
Mike Conklin was the one who was most involved in that, but I know that the whole thing, the evolution of the process started when I was initially on the board.
Yeah, mostly it predates my time in the Energy
Yeah,
Commission.
that's why I jumped in.
Yeah, I
'cause
appreciate
it was-
I
Yeah.
know that most of the lights that we wanted to initially eliminate were on the outskirts of town, in more residential neighborhoods, people with street lights right outside their homes that shine in their kids' homes, this sort of thing. Which, sure, I totally understand. I agree that, the heavy traffic areas deserve lighting. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming back in and reminding us, and I assure you, working on the planning board and that, I'll talk to Rebecca and see what we can do, because again, we're looking for implementation, and they're working, it's not gonna be something that's gonna set aside for a couple of years and then wait a minute. So we're working on it, and getting assignments, and individuals on the board will be assigned certain areas, so we'll keep you in mind and appreciate it. Thank
Lad.
you.
Thanks, Lad.
It's time to open the public hearing.
There we go.
Okay. It's 6:15, and February 25th, 6:15 PM, we're going to open a public hearing. The Plymouth Selectboard welcomes all present for this public hearing pursuant to RSA 284:51 to add by petition the following question to the warrant. Shall we allow the operation of Keno games within the town? This warrant article will need a majority vote by ballot to pass. I will open up for public hearing at 6:16. Do we have anyone in the public that would like to comment for or against this warrant article?
I, Frank Miller, am neither for nor against, and I just think they need to let the citizens of the town of Plymouth make their choice as to whether this is something that would be helpful in the town. I know it's supposed to go to the kindergarten budgeting, which is a nice thought. And also, I think it's voluntary up to the businesses that would be appropriate to sell the Keno. So I think it's up to the two parties, the citizens, that they want to see it in town, and second, the types of businesses that would want to sell it. And I think that's where we're at.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, do we have any comments from the select board?
I have no comment.
Has anybody come to the town asking about it or inquiring?
Yes, there was it the
Lucky dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one entity. There was, I think, 2 or 3 that expressed some interest, and the Lucky Dog came forward, which necessitated this coming forward here to get it on the ballot. So, seeing 100% participation from the public, I will close the hearing at 6:19. Okay. We have closed that. Any other, committee reports?
Yes. So, the Economic Development, Business and Economic Development Committee wrapped up Phase 1. I've got a copy for... I didn't know at the start,
You have another copy?
I didn't know at the start where and how far this committee would go. I just mostly knew that I didn't want it to continue and go endlessly. So we had, I think, 4 meetings, including one where we had the stakeholders throughout the town and the community that were most, that either had land or property or business owners that wanted to voice what they thought Plymouth could do. We got a lot of input. We used that input in this plan that I put together. And it basically just points out that Plymouth is started from a small agricultural community, and how the agricultural zone is still prominent today, much of our town. So that kind of shows where we came from, which is kind of a nice touch that Plymouth has, to still have that zone and as big as it is. And we listed our strengths, that the town has, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats, as you would do with a plan like this, and then talked about where this committee saw the vision for the future of Plymouth. And we've kind of put together what we thought Plymouth should be looking for, and that was high-tech, light manufacturing, unique shopping, and unavoidably, a big box store. What I didn't put was, I don't think this town or area could support, a large manufacturing operation. We just don't have the people right here, even taking consideration that someone might drive 10 or 15 minutes. There is, so with all that, we put down what the goals might be. And the first goal, after getting the merchants here and some of the developers, where there were 2 main problems with the downtown. That was the lack of parking, high taxes, which everybody mentioned, the high taxes. So Phase 2 will be coming up with a Main Street Merchants Organization, which will, there is a organizational meeting coming up It's going to be Let's Grow, the Shop Local campaign this spring. And so there's a meeting March 14th for downtown merchants at 8:30 a.m. here at Town Hall. And hopefully that will be the beginning of starting the Downtown Merchants Association all over again. In the past, there was an organization, it evolved, and at one point, I think there was federal money, at one point, maybe state money.
Main Street organization, yeah.
Yeah.
So the money dried up at some point. I'm not sure exactly the whole history of it, but there is some interest in starting something up again. We'll find out on the 14th. A couple of the other goals were possibly some parking at the Plymouth Inn property. There's been always talk over the years that since it's empty and its proximity to downtown, that if parking could be fit into that lot, it would be very expensive to put a parking garage with a multi-tiered. But we're going to look at it possibly to see whether you can do a minimal amount of excavation and put a lower parking with a tiered upper parking entrance from the back, so they don't have to be connected except for maybe possibly by stairs. So we identified that as something, especially when we started hearing the extreme concern about parking downtown, that as people drive around once or twice, they just go, they don't do their shopping. In most communities, there's an off-site area within walking distance that you can get to. Plymouth, it's hard to find that. You've got area along Green Street, which I will mention as another goal. Another goal would be a bike path or a walking path along the river, and hopefully be able to combine the downtown areas, people shop and eat, do a walking path down by the river, and then somehow be able to connect it out for a walking or a bike path down along the Baker River, which might even possibly lead to Smith Bridge. Another area that was identified was Town West Road, which is the road that's behind where the old lumber company, it's that area behind O'Reilly. And on that side, if we could have a parallel road, you would open up more expansion for the commercial district of Plymouth, being able now to have more buildings and alleviate possibly some of the congestion on Tenny Mountain Highway. It would bring in more tax dollars for Plymouth. And then we identified Green Street as an area to also increase the commercial space within Plymouth, the retail shops. And also that could open up more parking as well. So a lot of these ideas, they came up because if we don't plan for it, which was brought up at our meeting that Frank was in attendance, if we don't plan for it, we're going to end up having to react to it when it's too late. So if we can get these goals, and possibly like Town West Road, we don't have the money to build it, but at least if we can plan for it, and then as an applicant may come forward to the planning board, they will be aware that the town wants to put this road in. So if you want to develop your property, please make consideration for this potential of this road. It's only going to benefit you if you own the land. So Green Street, and then it was identified that Old Ward Bridge Road really should have another access into the school buildings rather than from just Highland Street, even though it's emergency access. It would be great if it did enter into Tenny Mountain Highway, especially for the buses, the congestion in the mornings when sporting events end. And then the last item was a teen center, a pool rec center, that if the private sector could ever get together and try and spearhead something like that outside of the town government, using private resources, that would be a real boom for the town, because when businesses are looking to expand into another community or start up in a community, the owners are looking for quality of life. And if we have the teen center, if we have all these things that make for their employees a kind of a nice life, and Plymouth can show these things, bike paths, teen centers, good egress for the schools. We already have so much that these were just identified as things that we could improve. So That's it.
In looking at Green Street and parking, is that kiosk on Green Street, is that getting a lot of usage, or
Oh, that's full almost every day.
is it?
That lot really gets a lot of use.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm working down in Belmont, I don't really get to see it till it's empty, and I was wondering just how the usage
Yeah,
was.
I've seen a lot
Lot
of-
of employees in there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's really reasonable, too.
Yeah.
The other thing too is if we're, we may be 5 or 6 years out from the armory moving out, but when that happens, that opens up some property as well.
Mhm.
And that could either be parking or more commercial, more retail. So if we can again plan for it now, rather than having an applicant come in and build something, we really need to design something, a proposal that applicants or people that own that land can get together and try and iron out any differences now. Anything you want to add to that, Frank?
Yes, part of the Green Street project and the South Main Street Economic Development Program it was designed primarily for economic development that included parking
Yeah,
systems, so.
that was the TIF
You're
district.
not
that was-
might be right, and the
Yep.
problem with the TIF district, people quite didn't understand what it meant, and the one problem we had with it is our downtown area has 4 zones, and the village commercial zone is in the same configuration it was since 1961 when it was established. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of changes to the village commercial zone. So what we really need to do is to re-evaluate the actual zones of the village commercial zone. I'll give you an example. Green Street is agricultural zone. You can stand at the park here and throw a ball to all 4 zones, but people view it as the downtown area. But when you're doing a TIF district, you have to inventory the value of the structures and the businesses within the specific zone. And so that's where it was very difficult for people to get their mind around it. And obviously, if the leadership, the mentors, the select boards, the boards can't also follow it, the citizens didn't have any idea. And that's why we never got that $2 million South Main Street improvement passed. So that's one of the programs, and I think if we start some of these projects, with the evaluation is, as I had recommended at the meeting, is we do a better job at public relations and marketing to ourselves so that the people can acknowledge and support the town taking action to try to improve things, because that's where a lot of confusion lies.
Mhm.
Thanks, Frank. And so the members of that Business and Economic Development Committee were a couple of representatives from the Planning Board, Mary Ann Barnsley and Bonnie Sears. We had David Laurie, the Realtor in town, Richard Gowan, another Realtor, and myself and Brian.
Did they look at, the master plan and
Yep, so-
working some of this in, or? because
Yes, so-
I know there was discussions of biking trails and other things, and.
Yep, so we looked at, or when I put the plan together, the first part of this plan was plagiarized pretty much word for word, the first
Okay.
4 lines from the master plans part on the economic development of the committee. Brought in what I could into the plan, and it's not complete by any means. I still consider it a draft. It still
Yeah.
probably has some grammatical errors, and
It's a step.
but it's a step, and it's now up for the select board, I believe, to figure out what we want to tackle and when,
Mhm.
and which ones we want to put to the side, and so it's up to us now.
This can be a good subject for the work session. This is we're doing with the planning board. We're using the work session to do the planning and rather than we don't have much business, so let's cancel it. We have a lot of work to do. And if this is gonna work and the master plan get implemented, it's gonna take coordination with everybody, so.
And one thing that, when they meet, the merchants meet on the 14th, hopefully they have, a good representative of the businesses. It's not something that they are going to have time to go out and organize. They're probably going to have to think about hiring someone the way that it was done in the past, and whether that support can be borne by the merchants themselves or whether they can be partial support by the town to get them started. We'll have to be
Or
discussing
do a
that as well.
fundraiser or some. Now, you said that was March 14th at 8:30 a.m.?
Yep. So if you own a business downtown, and it would be pretty important for you to try and show up. I know that Carol Dunn has produced flyers, and she's going to have one of her employees walk around to all the different shop owners and drop off a flyer, so they will be notified. And it's also, I believe, going to be on the town access channel as well.
Good. I did not have any committee meetings.
I
Well-
went to a Conservation Commission meeting, and Ina Ahern, the environmental science teacher from Plymouth Regional High School, came in, and I think I mentioned at a previous meeting that she was going to go back to her students and come up with some projects that they might be able to do to help out the Conservation Commission. What she came up with is actually really exciting. It is developing a website that would be obviously linked to the town website, but that highlights the exciting features of our town in terms of conservation and environment, and actually has some interactive features built into it so that people can, will be able to look at town maps and, see their property and, confirm that, yes, that's indeed a stone wall that goes around, through my woods and over my fields. But it'll also have a lot of useful information about, the Walter Newton area and other conservation areas in the town. So very exciting.
And that's important because, you can hear about it and it's an item here, but if you can't see it or, can't get a glimpse of what it consists of, because it's a great
Yeah.
place for hiking and, whether you do half of it up to the falls or, for little kids, it's even
beautiful.
very accessible and it's
Yeah.
nice. And
So anyway, that's a exciting project. And
very good. Looks like all the boards are getting full charge behind the master plan and get some things going. Yeah, because everybody goes to a website when they're going to a town to see what's there, and if you got a little short video or, a little flyover or whatever, because they can use the drones now to
right.
To get shots of the trail and the marsh out there, because it is really nice place, and they've got nice benches there to sit and eat, and it's good. Brian?
It's not really a committee, but I attended the Student Senate. I was invited to attend the Student Senate meeting, which was about with the local landlords, and this was a week ago, and that kind of ties into what was talked about the last time, or a year ago when we had the last CCC meeting. And I'm sure we'll talk about it again on next Tuesday, the 5th, when the next CCC meeting is. So it's kind of a lot going on. It's a lot of great communication between the university and the community. And they're asking for a select board rep, which I offered my services to. As kind of like a task force or offshoot of the CCC, I think, so, which is good.
Okay, good.
So that's coming up next Tuesday, the 5th.
Anything else, Kathy?
I have a couple of work session items after the meeting.
Okay,
to
all right.
finish up.
I would like to, and I could have done that at Chairman's comment, and I didn't think about it at the time, but just to thank the community, the town employees and everybody for the great work we did with the fire over on Adrian's Way. And, you know, I think the citizens were very appreciative, and, you know, we took care of them and lessened the impact on them. And I think all but one of them are back now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
And he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, but I think, you know, we got to meet some citizens and they got to meet us, and the Red Cross did a great job, and the police, fire, everybody just, I mean, in a matter of 3 hours, residents were connected with their families, or they were here, or they were at the Bridge House. And the Bridge House had showers and suppers for them, and it was really great. And so I just want to thank everybody that participated, because it shows, you know, the community can come together and we can work together and take care of each other. So
I might add just special recognition for what Paul Freitas did during that time. He's our emergency management personnel, but you can just tell whenever you talk to Paul how much he adores this town, and people don't know the amount of hours that he puts into his job that most town managers would just, I'll pass it on, but Paul does it. He enjoys it, and this town, this community is so lucky, especially when that fire happened, to see Paul go into action. That's incredible. We're extremely lucky to have Paul. So,
yeah, because I think at that time I was at the recycling center, and he had 3 emergencies going, and that's when he sent me over to help Casino and try to get things coordinated. And then Ann came in, and you know, it was, I mean, and the Red Cross was very complimentary of the professionalism that we showed and caring for the people. You know, it was, met some really nice people on those 3 or 4 days, and we had some, Joan taught them all new card game, and they were very enthusiastic about that.
Well, the best part was hearing them say, you know, we really need to keep doing this after we get back to our places. It's like they made friendships that were,
They did.
so it was
They did.
beautiful.
Yeah, and it was really, you know, to see the community come together, and you know, just, you know, no bickering, and everybody did what they could, irregardless of what the task was. They were more than up to it, and just want to thank everybody that participated, and that's what the community is about. That's what our leadership, again, Paul does an exceptional job, and we're just, we're so blessed to have him, and
Yes, we are.
just want to thank him very much. So, okay, so we have a couple of work session items, so we will.
can I
We
mention
have
one more thing on unfinished
Okay, go
business?
ahead.
When Brandon Miller was here at our last meeting, and he talked about the farmer's market and being told it's really, you can't do it on the town common because there's rumors that you can't have any sales go on in the town common, no exchange of money or something. I've always been told that same thing, that the family or person that donated the land to the town made that a stipulation. Yet the artists
Yeah.
do transactions on the common. And so I just would love to know exactly what are the stipulations when the land was given to the town. can it be used for a farmer's market? Or is it just, it's gonna tie up traffic, it's gonna tie up parking, and the people parking won't be able to go to the local businesses because they're gonna, I would love to know exactly what the stipulations are.
Okay, we'll have to look into it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else we need to bring up? Do we have a couple of work session items. Do we have a motion?
Motion, we go home?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.